Good Friday morning, everybody. I'm Dave Furtado.
And I'm meteorologist Jefferson Donovan.
And welcome to KEPR Quick, your latest local news and weather, commercial free in about 15 minutes or less. We're going to jump right over to weather because there's some shower potential developing.
Yeah, some showers are definitely going to be possible for our area as we do go through this weekend. As we take a look at the satellite picture, it's a beautiful satellite image. We have a pretty rare atmospheric river. It is rare for this time of year, at least, an atmospheric river pointed at the Pacific Northwest. This is going to be bringing copious amounts of rainfall to areas along and west of the Cascades. For our region, we are going to be hit with some showers, but certainly not as much as our friends west of the Cascades. We'll talk more about that with the Futurecast later on, but let's right now look at our weather headlines. We are going to be looking at some of those isolated rain showers for today, but more region-wide shower activity on Saturday. In fact, Saturday morning will be the wettest time period of this entire weekend. Now, by the time we get to Sunday, we are going to be drying things out, and we will stay dry for a majority of the next work week. We will highlight at least the rain potential for this weekend coming up.
Thanks, Jefferson. We begin this morning in Yakima County. Police are investigating a homicide in Granger that they say happened late Wednesday night. Granger Police Department says they were called out for a welfare check on the 200 block of East A Street at around 11 p.m. Responding officers say they found a man deceased who appeared to have been stabbed multiple times. The Yakima County Sheriff's Office Detective Division is leading the investigation. And this isn't the only homicide investigation to kick off in the valley. A man is in custody amidst a homicide investigation out of Toppenish. Authorities say a person was killed in the area of 200 North G Street late Wednesday night, and that suspect was caught by Yakima County Sheriff's deputies. The suspect has been booked into jail on a charge of premeditated murder, but it remains unknown if this homicide is connected to the one in Granger. If you have any information which could contribute to the investigation, you're asked to contact the Toppenish Police Department. And in the courtroom, a Toppenish man accused of assaulting federal officers and committing firearm-related offenses learned his fate yesterday. The 26-year-old Leland James of Vajaro had been sentenced to 16 and a half years in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release after pleading guilty to the charges against him. The court emphasizing the need for a significant custodial sentence to protect the community. Vajaro broke into his brother's home in Toppenish early last year, stealing 13 firearms and a suppressor. 2 days later, Vajaro fled from police, who found him, barricaded himself inside a nearby home, and shot at officers during a standoff. No officers were injured, but 2 police vehicles were damaged. Prosecutors say Vajaro's extensive criminal history and gang affiliation contributed to the lengthy sentence. And a simple phone call helped capture a suspected drunk driver who turns out to have an active warrant for their arrest. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office posted that a concerned citizen alerted them to a driver that was all over the road. After catching up to the suspect, deputies say they found a small bag of meth in his pocket and that he had a warrant out of Pasco. That driver is facing DUI, reckless driving, and possession charges, among others. And officers with the Pasco Police Department are out looking for impaired drivers through the end of next month. The targeted patrols are funded by a $40,000 grant from the state. So far, they've already arrested over 100 people this year for driving under the influence.
If you're out on the road and you're on your way to a bar somewhere in the city and you're seeing cop lights going back and forth on Court Street, Sylvester, catching guys all on the off-ramp, right? You're less likely to say, maybe I should have that extra drink, or maybe I should stay home or call for a ride, right?
Keep blowing, just like you're blowing.
Now, officers want you to think twice about getting behind the wheel impaired because of the extra officers out on the road, specifically looking for people doing just that. They say if you make that decision, you will be caught. And a family in Pasco is without a place to stay after their home went up in flames yesterday. It happened just after noon in the 900 block of Lincoln Drive. A family was home at the time with their newborn child, but firefighters tell us everyone was able to get out safely. The cause is still under investigation, but it appears to have started in the kitchen. The house is likely going to be a total loss, and the American Red Cross has been contacted to help the family find a place to stay. Now, brush fires are nothing new to the Tri-Cities, and neither are the people curious about them, but the attention they draw is often a headache for first responders. Case in point, Wednesday night in West Richland, when firefighters were trying to put out a quick-moving brush fire that was threatening some homes. Plenty of people who didn't need to be there were lining the roads trying to get pictures and slowing down access. West Richland Police commented on Facebook, quote, "Nobody cares about your Instagram stories." It's always best to stay out of fire zones and let first responders do their jobs. And the fire protection agency responsible for the West Richland area, Benton County Fire District 4, is looking to hire several new firefighter EMTs. The fire district, which serves 52 square miles and covers the entirety of the city of West Richland, has seen large growth in the area, especially by new businesses and housing developments.
You know, it's a growing department. We've got fantastic leadership and very supportive leadership that wants to see our people succeed. And, you know, with the community growing, there's so many opportunities. And, you know, it's just a really great environment.
Now, you do not need to have any previous firefighting experience in order to get hired, but you must be able to pass a physical ability test and be able to obtain all the necessary certifications. And with that, let's jump right over to weather with meteorologist Jefferson Donovan. Jefferson, we have that rain potential for today on into tomorrow. Not really going to move the needle in terms of being a drought buster at all, but that rain is definitely welcomed.
Yeah, any kind of rain, especially in August, is welcome. We don't get too much of it in August, one of our driest months of the year, as stands to reason because it is summertime. So anytime you even can get a little bit of precipitation, that is some good news. Now let's take a look at the Doppler radar imagery right now, or I should say as of this recording on Friday morning at around 7 a.m. We are still looking at some precipitation across the viewing area, namely in Grant County, parts of Kittitas County, and parts of Yakima County. This precipitation is gradually going to be tapering off this afternoon, but we will see a resurgence of precipitation as we do head into your overnight hours tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that with the Storm Tracker Futurecast in a moment. First, though, here's a look at daytime high temperatures for this Friday. We will see highs into the upper 80s for the Tri-Cities today. Look for low to mid 80s in the Yakima Valley, mid to upper 70s today in the Kittitas Valley, with mid to upper 80s for the Blue Mountain foothills. In terms of sky cover, we are going to be looking at some pretty dense clouds through the Yakima Valley today, as well as the Kittitas Valley, more in the way of partly cloudy skies from the Tri-Cities out to the Blue Mountain foothills. Now let's talk about the wind. Wind is not going to be a huge story either today or tomorrow, but conditions will be blustery at times. We could be looking at winds gusting between 20 and 30 miles per hour around the region on both Friday and Saturday. So not strong wind by any metric, but again, some blustery conditions here and there. Now let's talk about precipitation. I mentioned that we are seeing some rainfall this morning that will gradually taper off this afternoon. Areas along and west of the Cascades will be getting absolutely pummeled by rainfall today, but again, our region will enjoy a nice break this afternoon and early this evening. Through your overnight hours tonight is when we are going to see a resurgence of moisture working back into the inland northwest, and by about 10 a.m. tomorrow, absolutely everybody will be facing rain opportunities on Saturday morning. It is overnight tonight through tomorrow morning when we are going to be looking at our wettest time period for the inland northwest. By tomorrow afternoon, much of the rain will be tapering off, but we still could hold on to some shower opportunities for the Blue Mountains and adjacent foothills. In terms of rain totals through the weekend, we're not looking at anything too substantial, but we are certainly going to see some raindrops. You can see that in the Tri-Cities through the duration of the weekend. Rain totals are likely going to be staying under 1/10 of an inch. We could see up to 1/4 of an inch, or at least around 1/4 of an inch of rain this weekend in Yakima, up to around 1/10 of an inch of rain or so in Ellensburg, and around 1/4 of an inch of rain in Pendleton. So again, these rain totals aren't terribly impressive, but whenever we're talking about raindrops in the month of August, that is worth talking about. Now let's talk about the next 2 days after today in terms of the temperatures. We've already talked about the rain for tomorrow, primarily in the morning, mostly dry in the afternoon. High temperatures on Saturday will be into the upper 70s to low 80s, and then by Sunday we are going to be drying things out around the forecast area with a mixture of sunshine and clouds and high temperatures in the low to mid 80s. And what I will say, or what I will add on, is that much of next week is looking dry as well. Right now I'm going to toss it back over to Dave.
Thanks, Jefferson. Governor Bob Ferguson made an appearance at the Washington Chamber of Commerce Executives Conference yesterday in Ellensburg, highlighting the current state of affairs surrounding tariff impacts. KIMA's Aiden Connor brings us the details.
State Governor Bob Ferguson has heard from several businesses who are struggling following President Trump's decision to place tariffs on foreign agricultural imports earlier this year.
What I'm hearing from business folks is sort of the chaotic nature of those tariffs is making it difficult for them to make business decisions, how many employees to keep, to retain, to invest in. And so that's a big challenge for us, and that's why we've challenged those in court.
A common theme in Ferguson's conversations with ambassadors from other countries is the topic of tariffs.
One thing I'll add is when I meet with folks, consul generals, ambassadors from other countries, Mexico, Canada, Finland, England. The first thing they talk about, tariffs. Right? They are deeply concerned about the impacts of our trade relationship and what that's going to mean for them and for us.
He believes that Trump's decision to place these tariffs was unlawful and one that will negatively affect the state of Washington specifically.
We believe his action is illegal, that he did not have the power unilaterally to issue these tariffs. And so that's why there is a lawsuit challenging that, because Washington is one of the most trade-dependent states in the entire country, to make sure that the impacts on Washington were heard by the judges who ultimately decide whether or not these tariffs are lawful or not.
Ferguson looks to build trust with business owners in the state and ensure that the state's budget aligns with his long-term plans.
We'll be looking closely at our budget in general because we've got some big budget challenges as a state. We've got another budget shortfall coming. So one reason I'm here today, right, meeting with folks from chambers from all around the state is about, hey, how can we be good partners with the business community generally and agricultural specifically?
Ferguson later met with State Representative Tom Dent to discuss a bill that they had previously worked on. The two worked with legislation on passing a bill that would ensure the benefits promised to farmers in the Climate Commitment Act, which was signed in 2021. Ferguson also held meetings today with Senator Curtis King and Senator Keith Gaynor.
KIMA's Aiden Connor, thank you. And Governor Ferguson says a big focus this upcoming legislative session is making sure farmers receive their benefits. The full interview with the governor will be available up on our KRMA YouTube channel. On to some health news this morning. Health experts across the region are urging parents to keep up with their child's vaccinations. The push comes after a case of measles were reported in Idaho, the first in more than 3 decades. The Idaho Panhandle Health District says this case was found in a child that was unvaccinated. Health officials detect diseases like measles by using wastewater surveillance methods, which also help detect respiratory diseases early, such as COVID and the flu, and more. As a result, community health leaders say it is important to vaccinate your child to prevent these types of diseases, adding it is a school requirement.
All vaccination, what essentially is happening is we're trying to help build antibodies, so protections with using your own immune system to prevent further illness. That's why things like measles are vaccinated on in school, because those are like congregate settings where a lot of students or a lot of people are in one area. So measles is highly contagious, which is why we try to vaccinate early as appropriate by somebody's health condition and age.
For more information on how to keep up to date on vaccinations and outbreaks, you can visit our website, KEPRTV.com. And sticking in the health arena, hundreds of babies are born each year in Yakima, and with that, dozens of nurses are beside the mother, making sure everything goes to plan. As KIMA's John Franklin shares, while those nurses are just a normal part of many babies' birth stories, one mom went out of her way to make sure that her nurse was recognized for her ability to care for mothers.
I actually feel like I was just kind of meant to be here. I just kind of I feel like the universe just kind of put things in my lap.
When she was 16 years old, Hannah Humphreys had her first child, which inspired her to become a delivery room nurse.
With both my kids, I had such compassionate, amazing nurses, and it made me want to give other people that experience, especially, for every mom, but especially like first-time moms and young moms.
Hannah has helped deliver 166 babies at Yakima Multi-Care Memorial Hospital, and many of the mothers are thankful for her presence in the room.
From the first time we literally, as she was walking us back to the room, just kindness. I don't know how much I shared with her, but I was so scared. I almost didn't have kids because I was so scared of delivery and labor and all of that. And so for this experience to be such a long labor as well, to have Hannah for 2 overnight shifts was exactly what I needed, honestly.
Kelsey Perez was fortunate to have Hannah by her side when she was in labor 4 months ago. She said she felt listened to and never felt unsafe in the delivery room, something that Hannah strives to make her patients feel.
Hearing that I accomplished that, even if it's just, one patient, it gets to me, it makes me feel emotional because that is something I work really hard to do.
Hannah won a Daisy Award after Kelsey nominated her, but Hannah felt she was just doing her job just like any other day.
I was just coming in and working and doing what I do, and yeah. I didn't think that it was, above the norm, and so to get recognition for that, it feels pretty good. It feels like I'm, accomplishing something.
Honestly, when you said I was just doing my job, I had thought about the fact that she probably thinks she's just doing her job, but it was such, that's something that I will remember for the rest of my life. Every time I tell my delivery story, I talk about my nurse Hannah that was there with me the entire time.
In fact, Kelsey is hoping Hannah will be there when her family expands.
Second time around, you have to be there.
I will be there.
Be on shift, please.
77 babies have been delivered this year with the help of Hannah, and she is proud that her work is making a difference in at least 2 lives.
It means the world to us to just know that all those nights that, we're there working our long shifts and all the exhaustion and hours that we put in, that it's at least, appreciated. It means more than I can even put into words.
KIMA's John Franklin, thank you. And Hannah now wears a daisy pin on her ID badge as a reminder of how her work makes a difference. Back to school shopping is already well underway, and coming up this Monday, there's an opportunity to pick up some free school supplies. Back to school bash put on by Lutheran Community Services Northwest will be at the Hapo Center in Pasco. About 2,000 students are expected to get free backpacks, school supplies, and haircuts, among other things. No income, residency, or insurance requirements, but children must be present to get the school supplies. Again, the event is this Monday at the Hapo Center. Doors open at 4 in the afternoon, and it's scheduled to go until 6 in the evening. On to some lighter news this morning. A couple of events are happening this evening. Can we go back up real fast? On to some lighter news this morning. A couple of events are happening this evening. The Modern Maine Car Show will be kicking off in Sela, hosted by the Modern Maine Salon on South 1st Street. There will be a wide array of cars on display, food vendors, and a 90s-themed photo booth, along with salon services offered by Modern Maine. Festivities go from 6 to 8 in the evening, and best of all, the event is free to attend. Meanwhile, in Ellensburg, a decadent evening of creativity, wine, dinner, music, and community bonding at the Ellensburg Blank Canvas Party. It's a unique fundraiser hosted by the Ellensburg Downtown Association Design Committee, set in the alley behind Gallery 1 on North Pearl Street. All funds raised go to support public murals in downtown Ellensburg. The event is from 6 to 9 tonight, and tickets have sold out. And that does it for us. Thank you for joining us this morning on KEPR Quick. For more local news and weather, you can head over to our websites, KEPR and KIMATV.com, as well as our Facebook pages. But while you're here, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with our latest mini newscasts Monday through Friday. Have a terrific weekend, everybody.